Welcome back, dear metalheads, to one more episode where we are finally three in a room again. I can't believe it. It's been so long. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Good to be here once
Only
again.
agree with that.
Yeah. So, we decided to do one more hidden gem episode because, let's be honest here, 2024 has been crazy so far and filled with lots of great records. And I think it's easy to say that it could slow down a bit, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm a bit overwhelmed.
True.
I can barely keep up with it.
True, fair enough. I mean, who's here? I didn't do any introduction, so that's on me. I'm your host for today, Jill, and with me today is Daniel, known as the Metal Inspector on Instagram. Great guy. He knows his stuff. I hope so. We'll see today. And of course, the dude himself, Peter. Peter the Madness is back in the room.
Good morning.
And so we talked for quite a while to do this again, and we struggled a bit to find some bands, and especially to not make it only a black metal episode. But I think that didn't turn out the way it was supposed to.
That's on you.
That's on
I
me,
tried
yeah.
to bring in
That's
a
on
little
us,
bit of
on all of
color.
us.
So.
That's true. That's on me this time. But anyway, I think it's easy to say that even though there's quite a lot of black metal sound today, they're still quite different in each and every aspect. So
Every band sounds different.
exactly, and I'm gonna do the honors and start with mine. I think easiest. So while I'm at it anyway. So we are going to Mexico. A while back, I had the great Alex Becerra on the podcast with his band Nostalgia. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And to see a bit what he's been up to. And this guy is seriously crazy with the amount of records that he's trying to put out in a year. And the last record, Phaneron, really spoke to me on a very, let's just say, emotional and vulnerable metal way. So as you guys know, and of course you guys also know, I'm a big Alcest guy and emo kid, basically. So this was quite my mix. And I find it very interesting, his mixture of elements that he's trying to bring into his music. There's a lot of jazz, there's a lot of avant-garde-ish stuff, and it's not easy to, it's basically not easy to put Phaneron in a drawer of genres. I think that's fair to speak and fair to say. I think Phaneron to me, it will most probably figure on my top 10 list. I said it now, so now it's too late. I have to put it somewhere. But as I know, he's currently working on one more record for this year. That will be hopefully the last for this year, because I can barely listen to the stuff I missed out already, so I don't want to miss out on that. And there's one more record coming out very soon, Terminal Lucidity. And I think it will probably sound at least similar or maybe even better than Phaneron. Who knows? But for now, I think Phaneron is a fair record with a lot of different structures and elements in it. I'm not sure what you guys think about it, if you had the chance to listen to it.
I'm just in awe of his work ethics.
Yeah, it's quite crazy. Yeah. I mean, 4 records a year is nuts. But he tried to explain that very easily. Every day you sacrifice 1 hour or try to at least make it half an hour work. Which is still crazy.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
And especially if the songs that turn out on a record sound the way they do. So I'm impressed.
If it's a high quality hour of work, then I guess you can do that. But if you just,
but that you never know. Right.
Sometimes 1 hour is better than 4 hours of work.
Exactly
Yeah.
that. So I think it's fair to say that anyway, just to let you guys know out there, we will feature some songs of each and every artist that we will mention here. And I think without further ado, we'll just have a quick listen to Notturno, which is the opening track for Phaneron. And let you guys know what you think about it. Enjoy! Yeah, so that was Nocturno by Nostalgia from the record Phaneron. I hope you guys liked it.
Well, I did.
And if not,
sure. It's
too bad for you.
something, when you, I know this is something Jill would like.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's it about my first band. So, who's up next?
So, it's going to be me, and I am going to also present a black metal record. And
Great.
we are going to talk about Halder and the album Versus in Oath, which was released in February this year. And Halder is a one-woman black metal band. The person behind this project, her name is Marlies. And to best describe it is like she summons the vibes of the second wave of black metal and weaves it together with some kind of medieval folklore.
Yep.
So it feels a bit forlorn, it feels ancient, but it also feels very raw and dark. And Marlies, she's from Belgium, but now she operates from the state of Washington. And she's signed by the label 20 Buckspin. And
Haven't heard of that, to be fair.
Yeah, it's one of those many underground labels that, however, have a lot of great music coming out. So it's one of those labels that's really worth following.
Okay.
On this record, so Marlies, she did everything except the drums. She has a guest musician for that who goes by the acronym of CK. And so what makes this music interesting, apart from the very raw sound, is her ability to add like symphonic layers into it, but very nuanced. So we're not talking about symphonic black metal like Karach Angren or Dimmu Borgir. No, it's very subtle. It has much more a folk kind of approach. And so it feels, on the one hand, very dark, very raw, but also a bit ethereal and also scary.
To some extent, yeah.
So
Haunting
sometimes you get the rawness that you would expect on a Behemoth record, or let's say you get some Satyricon and Grima mixed in there.
Fair enough.
And maybe a teeny tiny bit of Sylvain, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, I know, I get what you mean. Yeah.
But only the harsher sides.
Yeah.
And so the riffs and the tremolos are really great. They create this kind of very haunting aura of this second wave of black metal that we're all familiar with.
Yeah.
And then these kind of synth layers, they are kind of very carefully interwoven into this very harsh, heavy mix. And it works really, really well.
Yeah. I think you said it earlier. It reminded me, when I heard the record, it reminded me a bit of Dungeon synth, a little bit, but not similarities there. I mean, not a lot, but the way the as
folky
you said
elements,
the way the synths are intervened with the rest of the music is just this, a good base to create this haunting and eerie kind of vibe.
Absolutely, And she has this really harsh vocal, really good harsh vocals. It's a very sharp, evil ring.
It's cool, black metal.
This is exactly. It's this kind of second wave of black metal vibe, but it's a bit. I wouldn't say modern would not be the right way to say it, but it has that. It has a slightly better production. It doesn't have this kind of awful.
Compared to
this
the first
super
record,
distorted raw sound. It manages to make it sound raw, but it doesn't sound bad. It sounds like it has good production behind it.
Let's say it's just meant to sound the way it does, even though it sounds a bit more modern in a way compared to the first record.
Yeah, it sounds more professional.
Professional. I think that's the word. Yeah.
I already knew Halder from the debut album Godslastring, I think it was called, from 2021. I don't know exactly. It was already a good record. It was much more war than this one, but also with a lot of folk elements. But this one has more wall of sounds, lasting, sounds, and more epic. I think it's definitely more epic than the debut album.
it has really good songwriting. The flow of the songs is very well done. It's easy to follow, and every song is memorable. So,
True.
In this regard, I would recommend we have a quick listen to the song "Hearken the Ends."
Let's go.
Okay, so that was Hearken the Ends, and I think now we just pass the torch to Pit.
Yes, let's go. My first band for today is Convulsing with the album Perdurance. Convulsing is an Australian one-man solo band by a guy named Brendan Sloan, and this is his third full-length album. To describe the sound, it's a sort of progressive, very technical and dissonant style of black death metal, and like most dissonant metal projects, it's not very easy to listen to, at least for some people. So in that way, it's sometimes difficult to review an album like this, even though it's maybe not for everybody. You can't deny that this is very well executed work of art. Perdurance is really one hell of an album. Excellent songwriting. The atmosphere is eerie, ugly, beautiful at the same time. You get sucked in this dark and claustrophobic world with layers of harsh aggressivity, tremolo riffing, but also slow ambient moments. This is avant-garde extreme metal at a very high level, and it gets even better every time I listen to it. The fact that Brendan Sloan writes and composes everything by himself is just impressive. So I would still highly recommend this to everyone who's into prog, technical and experimental death metal.
I think this screams Pit over all its
exactly. I love that.
The dissonance stuff, that is your thing, right? That's
exactly
is
my
and about this album is that I have not seen anything about this. Only Pit has talked about it.
It's
so
true.
I have not on any review sites, nowhere on my
true.
Instagram feed, anywhere. And I follow a lot of metal stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't turn up.
So
this is really let's say, the epitome of what a hidden gem is.
Yeah, it's really
It's
difficult
true.
to find. I didn't find much reviews on the internet, and yeah, it was by full.
The lucky find, let's
Yeah,
say.
it was a lucky find, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we do this episodes. Obviously, some of these bands are, let's say, most of them are still underground, but one or the other are probably better known than the other. But this was, as you said, Daniel. If Pitt talked about it for quite a while, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you have to listen to this," and I was like, "Ooh, if he tells me that, it has to be good." But there will be a lot of weirdness and
Yeah.
and
Dissonance.
dissonance in it. But yeah, I mean, it speaks for yourself. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for in a band, and I get it why you so love this record.
Yeah.
So,
So I think we could play a little song from the album. The song is called Pentarch, so you guys can get a picture of it. Yeah, so that was Pentarch by Kalvalze. Great song, love it. It's the opening from the album. So yeah,
super technical.
hope you liked it.
Very heavy. Nice, nice.
Nasty stuff.
Nasty stuff, and we'll continue. So the first round is done, basically, and back to me again with a band that I discovered while obviously going through my endless lists of Bandcamp searches, and I stumbled. I mean, we all know this. You see a cover artwork, and you're like, this is somehow appealing to me. No clue why. So I fell upon Orgon and the record Pleroma. And I tried looking up a bit more about this band, but I couldn't find shit about this band. Just that it exists to some extent. So the only thing I know, they're from Pennsylvania, is a solo project, but somehow not. There are some other musicians that are not really mentioned. And the record screams out with a lot of ethnical and folkloric elements that remind me more of a movie, but in a blackened, atmospheric kind of way. I think this is probably the heaviest record I have on my list. It is super structured, super colorful, weird to some extent. I don't get it how this band, I have no clue what else they have done because, again, I can't find anything except that this record is on Bandcamp, and it's a lot of progressive black metal, a lot of atmospheric elements, and then again this ethnical, I would even say Persian, Middle Eastern kind of elements that somehow fit into this. And I think the best example, even though we will not play it now, but the song Traveling the Depths, oh my god, that's a 17-minute opus that is, even though it's very good, but it's seriously messed up listening to it because there's so much going on in there, and yet there isn't. It's somehow this easy listening, but dragged out to something else, and I can't really explain what it is. But I think it's super rich. The music that he's doing is super rich and is well thought of. Nothing like let's create a record with each track has like 200,000 tracks in it just to fill it up with layers and layers of music. There are certainly some of these elements, like this wall of sound-ish kind of stuff. But then it cuts off, and then he immediately goes to this black metal, straight black metal stuff, which is interesting because you can't really fit it in a drawer again. It's somewhere in between. And I can't really explain why, but I really dig the record.
It's an amazing record. I reviewed it not too long ago. It was also album of the month for me. And it's let's say it has a very organic flow.
Yep.
It becomes chaotic, and yet it remains ordered in a certain way.
I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
And so you have these transitions, very butter smooth transitions. So it works. The flow is really well done, but it goes from very soft, quiet parts with clean singing to very heavy, distorted, disorienting kind of parts, and you never have any idea of what they're going to do next.
Yeah, true. I think
so it's super unpredictable.
Yeah.
And they've been working on this. This man's been working on this for years, and it really feels like every minute that he had was dedicated to making this record that is so vast and also features a lot of guest musicians. No idea who they are. I tried to find out.
Same.
No information.
They just exist.
Yeah,
they just another level.
They just exist, and it's really, I would say, almost tragic that you have music that is this well done, this rich, this flavorful, and practically nobody knows of it. I only found out about it on, I think it was Angry Metal Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then usually you talked about it.
Yeah, this shows, as we said it more than once on the podcast and in general when we talk about metal to each other, as sometime you just stumble upon something that, and I think we speak for all of these bands, there's no major label here that represents any band. These are individual guys that just do their stuff, and maybe they get picked up. I think in this case it makes sense that these guys are not well labeled, because I think that has a major impact on the songwriting. I mean, this is just assuming but it just shows that what is possible in a way. I would even compare, and I wrote it even here, so I think Organ and Nostalgia have this similar way of thinking about, okay, what is possible in terms of not necessarily metal, but what can I portray as a musician, and where's the is there any frontier, what not to do? And I think they just asked the question, but does this frontier have to exist? So what if I just level it up and I just do whatever I want? And I think the transitions I heard, the first song I heard was a very acoustically done, and then, as you said it just from one to the other it went ablaze, and it's
and then it slows down again, and then it does something else completely. So you can't really say that, oh, this is a black metal record, this is a progressive record, really, it's not an avant-garde. It's just people doing what they feel they want to do. And
I think that speaks again for these hidden gems, because that's why we're here.
But this one, I think this one is still pretty weird.
It is weird
in the good way. It's definitely not metal for beginners. even
No.
the harsh moments are like Dan said, it's really chaotic and progressive, but in a
Bursting,
wild, aggressive style, and I like it.
Yeah,
Really
I
great
think
stuff.
I think to compare it to regular, let's just call it regular songwriting.
Yeah.
You have an opening, the track opens, you get to a middle part, then you reach the climax somewhere, and it slows down again. But I mean, this is not speaking to organ. I mean, maybe the climax starts at the beginning, who knows, and then it slows down and nothing happens till somewhere, and then it just erupts again in this whirlwind of different structures, and it's really something else. But I think it's easier just listening to it, so we'll go for one of my favorite songs. It's called Ballet of the Locust, so enjoy.
Воззови дремлющему человеку, брось ему с берега доску и закричи во весь голос, чтоб спасал свою бедную душу. Он далеко от берега, уже несет и несет его ежедневное сонное опьянение текущей жизни с ее обманом, поклонением копеек, и нечувствительно облекается он плотью, и стал уже весь плоть, уже почти нет в нем души, без живой души человеческой погибнет земля. Пусть в мире будут живые, а не мертвые души.
So I hope you liked the small excursion to the Valley of the Locust by Organ, and I will pass the torch again to Daniel.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting what you just said about the previous band, Organ, that sometimes musicians just do something that they want to do that doesn't necessarily fit into a specific kind of box. And in that same spirit, there's another band that I would like to present. We have to go all the way to Beijing in China, and we're talking about the band O, just written as O, yeah, OU. And this is, how should I best describe it? I called it a hyper-progressive band from that have a very modern, innovative sounds. So think of it as a mix of, well, metal, more rather progressive metal, electronica, ambient textures, and however, okay, that in itself we would find also in Europe. Something like that.
True.
But this is very different because, for example, the lyrics, or the vocals rather, are all sung in Mandarin by a woman. Her name is Lin Wu. And there are no growls here. This is, she has a very interesting, clean vocals. There's quite a lot of range. So sometimes it's very gentle. Then sometimes it sounds a little robotic. And then
bit,
it can
yeah.
also be a bit harsher, but no, we're not talking about metal harshness, not growls or anything, but but a bit more emotion.
Yeah,
So she puts a lot of
graspy stuff.
emotion into
Mm.
all of these, into all of these songs. So the main songwriter is an American expat. His name is Anthony Vanacore. He does the drums. And then there are two other band members that he made music with before, mostly in the realm of electronic music. And what we hear in Europe, what we're not really familiar with is like what's happening in Beijing. What kind of music scene
that's
do
true.
they have?
That's true.
Yeah.
We have no clue. We know
Yeah.
our own. We know stuff from Europe. We know stuff from the United States.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of South America, and that's pretty much where we draw the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
And they're a very vibrant music scene that is evolving very quickly. More and more artists producing new records. And one advantage that they have is that since there isn't so much yet, they have more artistic freedom. And you
That's
can
true.
very much
Yeah,
hear
that's-
that on this record because
Yeah.
it's very experimental. You can't box it up. And I think they also want it like that.
For sure.
The disadvantage might be that they may not be recognized so much because it's still evolving. But this
Yeah.
is a record that, however, raised eyebrows also in the Western world.
Yeah.
And for us who are, let's say, accustomed to a certain sound, it might seem a little weird at
Yeah.
the beginning. It's like,
Sure.
these vocals in Mandarin. It sounds a little cute at times, and like, this is I like my metal dirty and raw,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like convulsing or ulcerate or
Mhm.
things like that. But if you really pay attention to it, this music is very complex, great flow, great grooves, and so they did an excellent job here.
Yeah.
And another thing that needs to be said about this is the sound to say doesn't come as a surprise when you know that the co-producer is Devin Townsend,
Mm.
who's also featured on one of their songs. It's the song that we're going to listen to very soon.
Yeah.
It's called Purge. And he also said about this project that often he's bored of music that we just produce on a
Yeah. I
on a
get it.
daily basis,
Mhm.
and he needs something that is unique, innovative, fresh.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist yet.
I mean, it speaks for him also. I mean, what Devin Townsend did over the last years is, again, nothing that you hear on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I get it why he would go, or people would come up to him and say, hey, listen, we have this cool project. I mean, you said it yourself. They're from China. So in a way, it's good and bad that they're from China because...
They don't really have a metal scene. There's
But that's what
nothing
we
much
don't
known
know.
from
also.
the
I
country,
mean,
yeah.
the only metal that would come to my mind talking about Asia would be some bands from Japan and
Mhm.
probably Taiwan's greatest export, which is Chthonic,
Yeah.
and that's it mainly.
No,
So,
only,
so
Bloody Wood. from
yeah,
India.
Bloodywood
Yeah.
maybe from India that made quite a stir, but I heard the record as well, and it reminded me a bit, and it's quite funny actually that you mentioned because when we last did this, I had Ad Astra as a fully instrumental band featured, and one of the main songwriters is also from China. So, I mean, it's good to say, and you said it again, we have no clue what's going on there, and I think we are missing out. They are missing out because they cannot portray it in a way that people in Europe or in the Western world are used to portray their music. So I think we need to pay a bit more attention to Asia because there's so
True.
much going on.
Yeah. If these people had made this record in Europe, it would have sounded very different.
That is true
Yeah,
also.
of
Yeah,
course,
for sure.
Of course.
Would have been maybe something like Dream Theater or
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
let's say traditional progressive metal.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to do that. They did their own thing, and it just came naturally to them.
Yeah.
That's what it makes interesting. It makes it exotic kind of way for us Westerners.
I think that's the word. Exotic puts it very well to term that this is probably something that we won't hear every day, obviously.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Or stumble upon a record that sounds similar to this. Let's hope for the best. I really look forward what they will do next. And
Yeah.
Also in this regard, this is the second album. It's called Frailty, and the first album is worth checking out too. It's very similar, and it has the same kind of unexpected vibes. That you don't know what's coming next.
I actually didn't know that they had a record already. I thought this was their first.
So far, two phenomenal albums. So I think the best thing to do now is to have a quick listen to the song Perch, which actually features Devin Townsend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was Perch by O, and now we're going to listen to something much heavier, and of course, it's going to be Pit.
Of course. Who else?
I mean, the day where Pit comes in here and shows me a shoegaze album, I think I will lose my shit, probably.
I also listen to some soft stuff, but I like my metal harsh
and evil.
And dirty.
Exactly. So next we got Necrowatch with the album Swords of Dajjal. Necrowatch is a French black metal band, but their early stuff was more black and death, thrash metal, and this one is definitely more the most black metal soundish album today. And it's their fifth full-length album already. And as the main theme for this record, they choose the mythical figure of Dajjal, or Al-Masih at Dajjal, who is an evil entity in ancient Islamic mythology. He's someone who pretends to be the promised Messiah or claims to be God, and then he brings hell with him on Judgment Day. So he's kind of the Islamic version of the Antichrist. So it's already an intriguing topic for a black metal album. And on the music side, you get a good mix of modern black and death metal with partially Middle Eastern influences. The sound is very well produced. All the songs kick off with cold melodies, black and tremolo riffing, filthy, haunting vocals, and crushing blast beats. As nasty as this sounds, riffs are still very groovy and catchy at times, and even do surprise with some great melodic guitar solos. Yeah, these are very talented guys, and they know how to present an oppressive and threatening atmosphere.
I mean, you said it. This sounds like you, so I don't
Yet
know what
again,
else to
yeah.
add, right?
Evil.
Evilness
Yeah,
on the
I
record.
love the cover.
I love
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
me too, yeah.
It already screams evil vibes.
Evil
Yeah,
spirits,
evil,
like evil
yellow
gems and
reddish,
stuff, you know.
and this evil figure
And
you
the
see.
scimitars that he's wearing, or
Yeah.
he's holding rather.
Yeah.
There was
Apocalyptic.
yeah, there's one song on the record where he just screams out one diabolical, probably summoning. I don't know what, but
Mhm.
I think that was the one song I heard, and I also was immediately hooked. And I think
Was very
I showed it to
occultic.
you later on, but you already knew it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good stuff. Good
good
stuff.
stuff.
So to give you guys a listen, we tried the first song of the album, which is called Xa Al-Kufar from Necrowatch. Let's go. This was Necrowatch with Xa Al-Kufar, and yeah, it's pretty nasty stuff, as you can hear, well produced, modern black metal. Yeah, I hope you liked it.
Great stuff.
Yeah, the vocals. I just called it orc metal. That's the best way to
True.
describe it.
True.
The vocals are just nasty.
Vocals are nasty, and the blast beats, they're blasting
destroy
away
everything, yeah.
Black metal for workout too.
Yeah, I think
sure.
Should
yeah,
you work
for
out?
sure.
I don't know.
I mean, I should.
I should.
It would
yeah,
be
for
better
the-
for my health, definitely. But yeah. Anyway, let's.
We don't need to work out to listen to this.
Not today. Not today, though. So, second round is done. My turn again. And I think my next and last record will probably be the most unexpected find I had in a while. Just saying. Not only 2024, but probably one of the greatest, in my opinion at least, atmospheric black gaze, depressive black metal kind of stuff. And ooh yeah, you're expecting the evil and the weirdness that goes with some stuff that Pit listens to. But again, we are talking about me here, so obviously there will be a lot of shoegaze elements. And I'm talking about Zazil, I hope I pronounce it correctly, with record Novilunium. Is one woman, I think, band that is also from Mexico, funny enough. And the record has, I think, 5 songs, if I remember correctly. And I'm just gonna say it, even though Alcest had a record this year, Les Chants de l'Aurore, I just hoped that some of the stuff that she's doing would still remain in Alcest's repertoire. And I think the more I listen personally to this record, it just grows on me, and I don't know why. It's just a certain kind of innocence to her music. It's very depressive, very melancholic. Her voice, her vocals are very harsh and yet very soothing. So again, that's why when I talk to you about it, Daniel, I explained it in a way. I said Alcest, but with some Sylvain elements, but way more evil. And you were like, "Oh, I have to listen to this," because I mean, not everybody gets the resemblance, but for some reason, it just speaks in this whole area to me. And honestly, I think for a one-woman band that hasn't done any record the same way, because she has quite a few projects going on. Zazil is I think, the newest thing going on. I have no idea, basically. That's, again, the lucky finds on Bandcamp that you just stumbled upon. And yeah, I'm not sure what you guys think about it if you had a chance to listen to it, but it's...
I personally haven't listened to it. I'm
No,
really sorry,
unfortunately, me
but
neither.
I'm
That's good. That's
definitely going to.
Yeah.
This album screams Gilles all over it.
Yeah.
It sounds
Melancholic,
interesting,
emo, depressive,
Yes. That's how I feel most of the time.
gazy. And of course, you mentioned Al. How many times did you mention Alcest? 3-4 times.
Just
Sylvain
today.
again, but that's fine for me. You know.
Yeah.
It sounds very, very interesting. It's probably very hard to find.
It is hard to find, and I just will give you the name of the girl doing it. It's Victoria Camilla Hayes Mays. That's so the name Zazil. You will not find it on neither Instagram or Facebook,
Okay.
but you'll find it over her immediate social media pages. And honestly, I feel like this is really one of those records, not only that speak Jill all over the place, which is pretty obvious by now, but will probably have a bigger impact also on me and my personal songwriting, because I see a lot of stuff that I want to do. And I think the easiest way to show you guys is just listening to one of my favorite songs of the record. Even though they're just 5, I could name them all, but we're going to stick with one only. It's called Alu. So enjoy.
No
So that was Allude from Zazil. Again, I hope I pronounced it correctly. But anyway, I think by now I have at least convinced you that this is typically me, right?
Yeah. Music written from
For me, basically.
for you from a sad heart. But
Yeah,
it's beautiful, but it's heavy too. And it feels like she just needs to scream out all the emotions she's
Yeah.
got boxed up inside her.
Exactly.
It feels heavy on the heart while listening to it.
And yeah, I mean, that's it for me. So back to you, Daniel.
Okay, now going from something very depressing, but also beautiful, to something absolutely disgusting, filthy, dissonant. This is my death metal contribution for today's episode. We're talking about Replicant from New Jersey and their album Infinite Mortality. So, dissonant death metal. So you get some tech death inside, avant-garde, and well, maybe a bit of hardcore too. What I love about this record is the instrumentation, because this is dissonant, but it's easy to follow. It doesn't drive you crazy. It's not all kinds of meandering. No, it stays heavy all the time, but you hear everything they do, every little note, and there are lots of notes. So the production on this thing is amazing. And then on top of that are the vocals, which I called in my review fascinatingly disgusting.
That's a good
So
way to put it. Yeah.
it's vitriolic, it's gross, it's filthy, it sounds like a beast that took some acid and it's just trying to scream it out. And that works really, really well with the very, very heavy instrumentation. So it's kind of like, it has a bit of that dystopian atmosphere at times.
Yeah.
So you hear a little bit of those elements. So it's kind of like, it's supposed to feel like a dystopian nightmare when you're listening to it. Also like the artwork. It's a kind of an, it looks like a ghost that is kind of caught up in some kind of spider cobwebs.
Kind of thing,
and it has a bit of a slimy,
disgusting look to it.
slimy, disgusting, harrowing look. And so when you look at the cover, well, the music that's inside is exactly like the album cover. So I warmly, for all those that like their death metal, dissonant, heavy, extraordinary, pit-like, or pit-worthy,
A new genre, pit-like.
pit metal,
Pit metal. Let's call it pit metal.
Pit metal. I definitely recommend to give this album a go. Infinite Mortality. And we're going to now listen to a Shrine to the Incomprehensible. Let's go.
Let's go.
Don't
Okay, so that was New Jersey's Replicant with Shrine to the Incomprehensible. So very, very heavy stuff. I love this kind of heavy groove. You heard maybe a bit of Gojira in there.
Mhm.
Definitely the hardcore elements. And with something this heavy, it's of course only it's perfect to make the transition to Pit, who's also got something really heavy and dissonant.
Yeah, but just like to say, Replicant is amazing. I think I learned from the album through you or through you with you, I think. And since then, I listened the shit out of it, and it's amazing, absolute good stuff. It's my kind of metal. So
Pit metal, basically.
Pit metal, yeah.
Again, yeah.
So in basically 2024 was, I think, an excellent year for dissonant death metal. And I know it's not officially a genre, but sometimes I think it should be considered as one.
Yeah.
So we already talked about Convulsing and Replicant, and now it's time for another big player. We have Ulcerate with Cutting the Throat of God.
Excellent title, though.
Exactly, yeah. So they're also a technical avant-garde death metal band from New Zealand, and they were formed in 2002. And Cutting the Throat of God is their 7th full-length album. With this one, Ulcerate pick up where they left off with their 2020 milestone, Stare into Death and Be Still. This one is, let's say, slightly less dissonant, occasionally more melodic, and altogether more accessible than the band's earlier works, although no less intense. But even if this is more melodic, it's not necessarily more easy to listen to.
Should I say yes? I agree.
Ulcerate create this technical, very complex wall of sound with the familiar dissonant sounds and cast a spell over the listener that pulls you down into the abyss. This album has an hypnotic effect on me, I'd like to say. The music is saturated with despair, hopelessness, and pure rage sometimes. There are no really hit singles on this. Ulcerate never wrote hit singles, and individual songs don't really stand out, but as a whole, the album unfolds its true power. So I highly recommend this album to listen as a whole. This is once more another masterpiece for the already magnificent discography of Ulcerate, in my opinion.
Yeah, Ulcerate never disappoints.
No.
They are really virtuosos on their instruments and on their vocals. And just the drums by Jamie St. Merritt. Called this God tier drumming.
Yeah.
This is so complex. He describes through the album with this
fluent,
hyper complex polyrhythms, all kinds of ghost notes in between,
Mhm.
and it's challenging to listen to. But if you make it a task, say I got 1 hour of my life and I'm going to dedicate it to listening to this album, you will get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
It has a very oppressing sound. It feels bitter at times. It's soul piercing, and you just got to give it to these guys that they always deliver. One of the most anticipated records this year.
Yeah.
And they definitely
And a
delivered.
rewarding one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you showed it to me, or you told me, because obviously I'm not the biggest dissonant listener, and this kind of metal, it takes quite a lot of time to get used to it. Yeah, I'm talking about me, obviously, but you said just try it, and I went for it, and I get it why so many people are attracted to this kind of wave that they create, because but then again, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I agree with all the facts that you said. I mean, it's excellently executed, and I think it will be one of the best records of the year. Even though it's not my thing.
It will
but,
appear on many album of the year lists. Also on mine, definitely a top 10. Where, I don't know yet.
We'll see.
But,
we'll see.
There's still many records that are going to
Yeah,
be
there's
released
still a
this
lot
year.
coming.
This is overwhelming.
I mean, by the time we are recording this, it's only August, so we are
Yeah.
still we're not in the home stretch
Yeah,
yet.
just
so,
this month there will be a lot of amazing
true.
records coming out. So that already can now just throw it out there. Also, it will be definitely
Yeah.
the top 10, maybe even the top 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I think we try a song. The song is called To Flow to Ashen Hearts from Ulcerate. Let's go. So yeah, this was To Flow to Ashen Hearts from Ulcerate, a 7-minute epic song. I hope you liked it.
Very soothing.
Very soothing, and I think I will go back to it because the more you talk, obviously, the more you talk about records, the more intrigued you can get at the end of it. So it helps us in a way, all of us here, you people out there also. So yeah. And
well, I got a 50-minute drive back. The album is 50 minutes long, so I guess that might
sounds
work.
fitting, right? And I think with that said, we reached our final song, our final band for today. Not sure if this will be the last Hidden Gem for 2024 because we still again have a stretch to go. Who knows? Maybe we'll do this again this year. If not, latest next year you will hear some newly undiscovered stuff or unknown stuff that we like to hunt for. For now, I hope you guys had a fun time. I certainly did.
Always.
And I'm interested in re-listening to some of these records again because it's been a while, obviously. And I hope you guys out there had a fun time too, discovering new stuff. And with this said, I think thank you guys for joining again today.
Yeah.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure.
And I would say hear you guys out there very soon and stay metal and listen to all the stuff that we mentioned.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, the obvious stuff that we keep forgetting. Yeah,
And
true.
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Right.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye bye.